Streetbeefs Scrapyard. We ain't gotta act hard. Sasquatch back, y'all, we flipping like a flashcard. Guns down, gloves up, or shut up. That part. Guns down, gloves up, or shut up. That part. Streetbeefs Scrapyard. We ain't gotta act hard. Sasquatch back, y'all, we flipping like a flashcard. Guns down, gloves up, or shut up. That part.
Rolling. Come on. Quaalude fighting out of show in Washington, you feel me? Rest in peace, moms. You know what I'm out here doing it for.
All right. What's up, everybody? Fire Chicken here, back at the Scrapyard for this monumentous 3-year anniversary event. Stacked card. You're going to see some great stuff today. Shout out to the sponsors, Peixoto Premium Clothing Brand, who's done a ton for this 3-year anniversary event. So thank you, Len. Thank you, guys, everybody. Team Peixoto. Thank you, guys, everybody. You guys be safe and fight hard.
Yeah! Both are briefed on a rules this match. I want you to obey my commands at all time, protect yourselves at all time, have a clean match. Touch gloves now if you choose to do so, and go back to your corners.
All right, welcome to the Eric J. the Great podcast show. We got a special guest on the show today, owner of Streetbeefs Scrapyard, Fire Chicken. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Hey, doing all right. So for everybody out there, this is a league that I found on Instagram. That's been going viral. I have over 200,000 followers. And it kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen the movie on Netflix called Dog Fight.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a movie on Netflix called Dog Fight. And it has Kimbo Slice. It's about Kimbo Slice bodyguard. They was best friends, and they ended up, when Kimbo Slice went to the UFC, their relationship kind of fractured when he decided to go pro fighting as well. And they had a backyard league in Florida, and it got shut down because the UFC was politicking into it. But they had 3 people make it out of the league into the UFC, like the dude named Level. He's a light-skinned dude. I think he went to like light heavyweight or something in the UFC. He had like over 20 pro fights. And he made it out of that backyard because they went viral. You should look at it. It's a good movie, man.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I'm gonna definitely check that one out.
Yeah, him and Kimbo actually ended up fighting probably like a year before Kimbo died. His name is Dada 5000, and the fight's on YouTube.
I just got into it with him on Instagram a little bit.
Oh man,
it wasn't intentional. So like, somebody posted this video that was the old Florida backyard fights, and somebody said this was the pinnacle of YouTube, and I said I disagree. I wasn't trying to like throw shame at them or anything. Like, I'm just saying, like, things are kind of opinion, it's kind of evolved a little bit, and he kind of took it as an insult. And I explained, I'm like, I'm not trying to insult you, man. I just said that you guys paved the way for everybody to start these things up, and they've come a long way since then, but they weren't the first ones to do backyard fights either. It's just like that time period. That's when people started recording the stuff and you could see it. But man, that stuff's been going on since the 70s, or even, man, it's been going on for longer than that.
Yeah. I just think the whole thing, besides him stopping being Kimbo Slice bodyguard and starting it, and Kimbo being so popular in the UFC, and his name being attached to it, that it made it what it was. So they think, that they was the pioneers of it just because they had a big name attached to it. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's an opinionated thing. That's just like people saying Michael Jordan is the best player of all time. If you don't believe he the best player, it ain't no big deal. It ain't personal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. It was just an opinion, So I said, I don't agree. And then it didn't get bad or anything like that. It was just kind of some opinions going back and forth. So, I still respect him and everything he created. But
so first off, man, just tell the people where you from and how old are you?
Oh man, I'm from Washington State. That's where I'm currently at. Been here pretty much my whole life. 40 years old. I grew up in this little town called Aberdeen. It's where Kurt Cobain from Nirvana was originally from. He actually dated my cousin back, a long time ago. And grew up there, like a logging town. I was in the logging industry for, I think till I was about 21. and then I got laid off my job. It was like 2009. Um, but I'd say like '04. That's when I started to get into like MMA and started training and stuff. I'd been a fan of it since, boxing and stuff since I was a little kid. My dad would play it, but when I turned about 21, I was like, okay, I want to learn this stuff. And I did it for a number of years, amateur fighting. And I did it until I want to say probably 2011. And then that's about kind of the time that I got laid off my job. And then I started going to school for welding. I got a job up in Bremerton at the Navy base. I started coaching wrestling after that. And then a few years later, I started watching these fights on YouTube called Streetbeefs, and they're all over in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Where are you located?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. So I started watching these fights over in Virginia, and I mean, I was hooked. It's like it's backyard fights. Like, how can you not love that? And so I go on their Facebook group and I message the owner, which is Scarface, and I'm like, I'm gonna come out there someday. And like 2 years later, my work made me go out there for a work trip. And so I contacted him and said, hey, I want to come out. And he said, yeah, come on out. I went and I did some training with him and stuff. And then he said, next weekend we're doing we're doing some fights. And at that point, I skipped a step here, but like at that point, I'd been boxing for about a year, 2 years. I found a boxing coach at work, and we practiced every day at work, just beating the crap out of me at work every day. And anyway, so 2018 rolls around. That's when I get sent over to Virginia, and I do my first fight in Streetbeefs. And a month later, I do a second fight. And then I get sent home on my work trip because it was over. I get back here. I'm thinking like, I never really experienced anything like that before. So I talked to my coach, and we're like, hey, let's just build a ring in the yard. At the very least, we can just practice on weekends and stuff. Like, all right. So wife goes out of town for the weekend, build a ring in the yard. She comes back, she flips out, she gets over it. But then we kind of started talking, me and my boxing coach and some other people, about maybe doing fights, look into the local laws. Laws are okay. So we set up fights, and we planned on doing them July 2020. And at that point, I was talking to a guy that had another branch of Streetbeefs named Cornflake, and he said, because we were Scrapyard Fights, we hadn't had any fights yet, but that was our fight, our group name. And he was like, well, I'm going to talk to Scarface. How would, maybe you can be a branch of Streetbeefs. And I was like, yeah, I'd love that. That'd be like a dream come true, because, I was already a big fan and I loved what they stood for. Guns down, gloves up. And so he pitched it to Scarface. Scarface said, yeah, let's try it out and see how it goes. Because, he had to be able to trust me because I'm carrying the name and everything. Wanted to make sure I wasn't about it for the wrong reasons. And so we started it up, and we pretty much been just doing fights every single month ever since. And it's just evolved and gotten better. And it's mainly a YouTube thing. I've only been doing the Instagram thing for like a year. And so I don't know what's going on with that, but it's blowing up like every day. I'm getting people that are following me that they're like, I grew up watching. I got people sharing my stuff that are like idols to me, and it's just pretty crazy. The networking that I'm able to get through Instagram is it's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Because on Instagram, when Mark Zuckerberg bought Instagram, they started transitioning to Reels. So, when you post Reels and they got good content like that, a lot of people especially you got the hashtags and stuff going, a lot of people gonna start sharing it. And before you know it, that one popular person shared, and then it's out of there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've been learning as I go with the Reels thing too, because my channel is pretty much built on long content. Not so much the Reels or the short stuff. So I kind of had to figure out as I went along, like, how can I do this? How can I do that? I've played around with TikTok a little bit. It's kind of a touchy subject right now because I had a TikTok that had 250,000 followers and it just got shut down like 2 days ago. So they apparently don't like fighting content, but you know what? I still got YouTube. I still got Instagram. Still got Facebook. That's where our group is, where people do the signups for the fights and everything.
Okay. So, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of your hometown?
Um, logging, definitely. It's a big time logging town. There's sawmills. There's people working out in the woods. You know, there's all sorts of stuff. So, country-ish kind of. You know, it's out away from the big cities and everything. So, um, yeah, pretty much that's it. A lot of memories, you know, from growing up and stuff, family and all that. But
Yeah. Did you have a two-parent household growing up? Any siblings?
I did. Both my parents are still around, and I got one brother. He's 18 months younger than me, named Matt.
Okay. So for anybody that ain't never been to Washington State, just kind of describe some of the obstacles and circumstances that you have to overcome just growing up there.
Um, okay. Washington it's the Pacific Northwest, so you got access to the ocean. But what's really neat about it is the outdoors, which we did camping and stuff as a kid, but as I've gotten older, I like to do more hikes and stuff with the family. It rains a lot out there, probably about 9 months of the year. You're getting rain on and off on days. Uh, it can get warm. I'm in the western part of Washington State, so you go over to the eastern side, on the other side of the mountains, and it gets a lot hotter. Some obstacles. I don't know. You got any like examples of what you might mean by obstacles?
Just like, just like community obstacles, like, growing up here, we might not have had this. So we had to figure out how to get around not having this in the community, or just average neighborhood stuff as a kid, like, you might not have access to certain things, or either your parents might not been in the best position, or whatever the case might be.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, it was kind of it was really west, so it was far away from like the closest like big town was Olympia, the capital of Washington. And so if you really wanted to do anything fun, you headed to Olympia or Tacoma. You know, that's where the concerts, and then you got Seattle, which is probably hour and a half ish away. Growing up, I actually went to a private school growing up. My parents had me in a Catholic school, and I did that from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. And then I got into high school, and I was kind of, I really like sports a lot. You know, track and cross country and that kind of stuff. But like I wasn't one of the really popular kids, so I kind of stayed away from a lot of stuff. I think it's probably because I went to the private school, and it kind of was ingrained in my head, like, yeah, just kind of stay away from everything. And I focused on mainly sports, and um yeah. So I mean, parents always seem to treat us really well, and we'd go on vacations every so often. And um really thankful that my parents for what they did for us when we were kids and everything. So
Okay. So let's transition to street beef. So when Scarface gave you the opportunity, and this is a real thing, this is about to happen, take me through that first month when you about to have your first event, because I know it had to be a lot of jitters, because you like, hey, I want this to go right. I don't know how many people's going to show up. I don't know if the people that's competing, if they're going to take it too far. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of a lot of things when it comes to fighting that well, a lot of variables you have to take into consideration, especially when you're talking about referees. Are they going to know when to insert and not let a person go too far? People's safety, things
Mhm.
like.
So I'm a really big planner. A big move like this, I'm not just gonna wing it. My job that I had where I was at the Navy base, I would do these jobs sometimes. There was a federal job, and sometimes you're at work, but you don't really got nothing to do. So what I would do is I'd get like this pen and a piece of paper, and sometimes I'd be sitting in a place like you can't have your phone, right? So it's like, okay, you're gonna go inside this job, and you can't bring anything in with you except for like a piece of paper and a pen. And I'd be sitting in there for hours. And when I got the idea of doing this, I would sit in there and I would go over through my head every single possible thing that I could think of that I would need, every base I need to cover in order to do this the right way. Um, Big thing was like fighter safety, um, medical staff, medical equipment, referees. So I reached out to some of the people that I used to train with that were referees and that kind of stuff. And I had some people come together at first. Now, we already had our Facebook group together talking about doing this whole thing before we did the street beef fight. So I had a number of people that were interested in saying like, okay, I'll run your second camera for you. I'll sponsor you. I'll bring a team up of this many people. I like I said, I really wanted to be on fight day as good as I could be as far as like efficiency goes. And it didn't run completely smooth, but especially since we didn't have the most people sign up for our first one. I think we only had like 9 fights. So a couple people kind of got matched up that were a little outclassed, you know. At the end of the day, it's kind of like a street fight because you in the sense that like you don't know who you're going to be fighting. You start a fight with somebody. I mean, you don't know like if they did karate their whole life or what, you know. Um, but as we kind of went on, we put like a kind of a system together to just match people up better. But yeah, man, I won't lie, it was a little nerve wracking, and everyone's kind of looking at me and wondering what to do next. And I just had to be on point, like, okay, that one's over, guys. Um, you know, be ready in 10 more minutes, and get everybody, you guys get warmed up, and then it just kind of got better and better and better from there.
Okay. So when after your first event and you got a feel of how these events could go, how was the city embracing you in the beginning when you start rolling your events out? Was the city really getting behind you?
Well, uh, the city, like since it's not illegal, I I live out in the country, and nobody really cares except for there was a neighbor that cared, but ultimately they couldn't do anything. But the community, I would say, not so much the city. And community, I mean, people have known me growing up, and we're in the fight community around, whether it was the amateur fighters or the gyms. Right away, I could start to see who was really supportive, would help me out, would, even if they just said good things like, I really hope you can make this thing work, follow your dream. Then you would get people that they wouldn't really say anything, and then you get people that said some things that weren't so great. um I never really let that keep me down because I had my own vision and everything, and I wasn't going to have people stop me. But it, it is really, it's really amazing how you can know somebody for so many years, and then you start to do something, and they just don't want to be happy for you, and they hate on it. And so I lost some friends. um I met some great people too. One of the greatest things about street beefs is the opportunity, the people that you can meet, the networking. You can meet just sparring partners, friends, people that want to help out, people want to run cameras. So the fight community, yes, there were some that really embraced it, and then there were some that were just like, I'm not going to let my fighters fight at your events. Okay.
But that's also, you know, like a sign in life that, you know, that you found your purpose. You know, when you doing something you enjoy doing, and you know that it's something that, you know, that you would do for free because you have a passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the river meets the road in life, you know, because you're doing something you enjoy doing and you're focused on something. Then there's some people that's gonna go left, and there's some people that's gonna stay on the ship with you. You know, I'm currently going through that now with my podcast and stuff. Elevate, you know, it's people I used to talk to and hang out with all the time, and then once I stop doing certain things and say, hey, I'm focused on this. This is what I want in my life and things like that. You know, people fall off, but you know, I think that just comes with the territory. You know.
It does. Just what I've noticed is you should always just really, really um never take for granted the people that are there, you know, because those are the ones that those are the real ones, the ones that'll stick with you through everything. So you just got to show them a little bit more love, and let them know that, hey, you know, I really appreciate you being part of this and everything. So yeah, I feel you on that though. I got people that drop off. I got people that drop off and then apologize and come back. So yeah.
Absolutely. So let's go through the details of the details of how these events are set up. So kind of list, you know, like if you do them on weekdays, weekends,
Okay.
you know, weight classes if you have any, how long are the events, you know, how much does it cost to get in the event, average duration, does it last 2 hours, 3 hours, how long are the fights, how many rounds, things like that.
All right. So right away, our signups, they're on our Facebook group. So head on over to Facebook, find Streetbeefs Scrapyard, and I literally typed out this huge post that explains for people that are signing up what to expect, the rules, all that stuff. But I will go over some of it. So we follow Washington State amateur rules. Our rounds are 2 minutes long, and we have 3 rounds unless it's a title fight. Then it turns into 5 rounds, 1 minute in between each round. We have kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can basically pick what type of match when you sign up. So I'll show you really quick. I actually have these waivers right here. Actually, I need to pull my screen up because I can't see it. Okay. We have these waivers that basically just say, you know, we get the video rights. You don't have any conditions coming into this that would make you a risk for you don't knowingly have any conditions or anything like that that could make you a risk to other people. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do this, whether it's legally or whatever. Don't hold us accountable for injuries. That there's no pay involved with it. And that is one thing that gets a lot of people that aren't familiar with the fight scene, is that there is no money involved with amateur fighting. And if I were to charge people or pay people, I would get shut down by the city like right away, because that would make it illegal. And one of the biggest things is trying to stay legal. We tell people that be honest with your experience, because we don't want mismatches happening. We match up based on weight within 10 pounds. So it doesn't really matter what you weigh. We'll just match up with somebody 10 pounds over, under, whatever. And for titles, we do have weight classes, and they're basically just your standard mixed martial arts weight classes like UFC. We do a skill level rating system from 0 to 5. And I just say, like, if you're a 0, you never even put gloves on before. If you're a 5, you're pretty much like, you're a badass dude. Like, can't have pro fighters. We can't have pro fighters, but you know, like there's people that are definitely pro level that are not professional. I think what else? What else was there?
How much are you charging people to get in events? Are the events free?
There
Uh,
the events are free because we can't charge admission. However, I don't allow spectators at the same time. So if you want to come out to a fight, you gotta have a really good reason. Like you gotta, you know, basically like, hey, I'll come out and I'll take pictures for your event, or hey, I'm a, you know, famous podcaster, you know, whatever. Just talk to me like enough ahead of time that I can say I'll hold a slot for you. There's no buying slots or anything like that. It's just kind of, um, I do have a little bit of leeway on people I can let come out, but I can't open it up to the public because then there's no benefit to me for that.
right.
Because we're trying to run a production, and the more people you get, the louder it gets. The harder it is to do our video intros and hear me when I'm talking, and the referee when he's trying to stop a fight. You know, if it's too loud, like the fighters won't stop fighting because they can't hear, or the ref won't hear it. So we limit the number. I tell fighters they're allowed to bring a +1, and you know, that's their coach. Or if they want to bring their girlfriend, they can use one of our coaches or something.
Okay. So what's the worst thing that'll happen so far since you've been doing these fights? Like as far as like, you know, something that just caught you off guard that you wouldn't expect to happen.
Well, there's always people getting knocked out. That's always scary. You know, we do have medical staff on site. We have nurses. They get checked out before and after, but it's still scary to see somebody get knocked out, you know. That's probably the scariest thing. For the most part, everyone's really respectful and chill out there. You know, we try to tell people like leave your ego at home, that we're putting this together for you guys to get better and to make some connections and everything, and we don't need to jeopardize it by, you know, people trying to start fights outside of the fight. So um other than that, like it's been pretty good. I can't off the top of my head think of anything outside of that that would really catch me off guard. There's always little things, but we always find a way to overcome.
Okay. So once this league got up and running, you found your groove. What Scarface said about this, like once you got in the rhythm and he seen that, you know, hey, he knows what he's doing, he's good, you know.
Yeah. So at first we were sending our videos to Scarface to put on his channel. And I don't know if you've checked out Scarface's channel on YouTube, but his channel actually has 3 million followers on YouTube. Um, so they're a big YouTube channel, but they've also they started back in 2008, and they've been building since then. Um, so we were putting our videos on his channel, and it kind of got to the point where he had us, he had another branch, and had another branch and his own videos. And so it's like, you know, he's got all these videos. He's getting like 20 from me a month, 20 from them a month, 20 from them a month, 30, 40, 50 of his own. So we were just kind of like, well, what if we just, you know, put our stuff on our own channel? And at that point, we had already shown that we are being responsible, and people are enjoying it. No shady stuff going on. And he was okay with it. He was like, yeah, I'll let you put your stuff on your own channel. And so ever since then, that was probably March of 2021 that we put stuff on our own YouTube channel. And we went from 0 subscribers to, like, today we hit 330,000.
No, yeah, that's dope.
And I think that's about how many Scarface had on his channel on YouTube when I started fighting for him back in 2018.
Okay. So How long y'all currently been going? 3 years?
Three years, yeah. So we just had our 3-year anniversary. It was our July event, and we had our largest event ever, 30 fights. And yeah, um, lots of people signing up. We got names on the wall. We have like Wall of Fame. We got fastest KO, fastest submission. We got the fighter of the year for the 3 years, and then we have the staff's name on the wall.
Okay. So over the 3 years so far, out of all the fighters that's came through this league, have anybody been able to get turn pro?
Um, yeah, so we did have one guy. He was already amateur and everything, and he came out and did a boxing match. Uh, and then he ended up going pro MMA. He's actually been pro MMA for, I think he's a 3 or 4 and 1 right now. So he's doing good as a pro. We've got some people that have come out that are interested in going in that path and that look like they have a lot of promise. There's definitely a large scale of fight talent out here, ranging from nothing to top notch, you know. So you never know, you could see one of these guys in the UFC someday. I fully believe that.
Absolutely.
One thing that these guys are getting into is power slap.
Yeah, I've been seeing that on YouTube. That's crazy.
I just went, that's where I just came from Vegas. I got invited to it because it's invite only. There's no tickets or anything. And it's super exclusive. Like they don't have public at all. And you walk in and I mean, you got like Dana White standing there and Forrest Griffin standing there and you know, Cowboy Cerrone over there and these famous TikTokers and all these people that playing blackjack with Dana the night before and stuff. And uh it's just such a weird environment, and you start talking to people and kind of finding out, you know, how they wound up there, you know, how do they know Dana, how they know one of the fighters, because the fighters get 2 tickets each, and there's only like 3 rows of seats, and there's no like barriers or nothing. Like you can just walk wherever you want to walk. But anyway, it was a really neat experience because Dana White from the UFC, he's pioneering that whole thing, and he's making a league out of it. And yeah, I'm gonna go to the next one in October.
Yeah, I've been watching that slap stuff for a while on Instagram and YouTube, and the funniest thing, man. You see somebody baby powder with the handprint on their face, and they body lock up and they fall back.
Yeah, I hung out with probably 5 or 6 of them the night before the matches, and then I hung out with a couple afterwards. They actually had a house like the Ultimate Fighter when they put everybody together for you know, the reality show. Yeah, they had a slap house or whatever, and they brought all these guys together and they put them in houses, and they did the exact same thing they did with the Ultimate Fighter. And so when I showed up to Fremont in Vegas, you know, all these guys came out, and I was like, I saw him. It's like I just finished watching this whole show again, and I recognized all these people, and they watch my fights, so they recognized me. And it was kind of just like, what? And then we're getting pictures with, like, I'm like, hey, can I get a picture with you guys? And they're like, nah, man, let's get it. Let's you get a picture with us, like, or let me get a picture with you, you know? And it's like, oh, geez, it was pretty neat.
Absolutely, man. One thing too, there's one major question I wanted to ask. So, and you probably just recently ran into this. So, you get invited to Power Slap. I'm pretty sure Dana White probably heard about this league before you even got there.
Well,
So how is he embracing, you know, because, you know, sometimes they could be looked at as competition, like I was explaining to you with the Netflix movie,
mm-hmm.
and how they did Dada 5000 them, but theirs wasn't structured, and they was in a different state, so it's kind of 2 different situations, you know what I'm saying? Because theirs was technically illegal, but you know.
Yeah. So since the sport Power Slap is so new, you don't have like a ton of people doing it yet. You have like they're getting more and more. And so when you have like 5, 6 Street Beast fighters signing up for Power Slap, everybody knows they're Street Beast fighters. They put that in there when they're in their signups, like I'm Street Beefs is like light heavyweight champion, you know. And then they go into the Power Slap house, and there were like 1 or 2 of them in the Power Slap house, and so everybody knows what Street Beefs is. Like I walked up to Forrest and I asked him, like, you ever heard of Street Beefs? You know, he's like, oh yeah, of course. You know, and I didn't get a chance to ask Dana anything like that. He was kind of, you know, everybody wants to talk to Dana, but I did introduce myself as being the guy that runs the one in Washington State, and you know, Gary, I mean, he knows what Street Beefs is. If you've ever been on the internet, you know, and you're a fight fan, you know, I guarantee you've seen Street Beefs fights. Joe Rogan, I could guarantee seen Street Beefs fights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good that you know, people they got different leagues and people that's in higher positions is embracing what you guys got going on, not, you know, trying to put a person down or anything like that, you know, because that can kind of, I won't say be discouraging, but it would kind of just make you look at a person different, you know, especially if you looked up to that person and you admired that person and what they was doing.
Yeah, I mean that's why they say you should never meet your idols or whatever, you know. But um I never got any negative feedback from any of the people that I met that were familiar with it. There's a couple different ways you can look at us. You can look at us as being an illegitimate, you know, league of fighting or whatever. But then you can also look at it like people are fighting on the streets, but they can fight in a safe environment and settle disputes. And then you can also give people an opportunity to kind of see where they're at with their skill level and everything. Maybe they want to pursue a career in boxing or mixed martial arts. It gives them that little bit of taste of it. So it's all in all a really good thing. It's just that some people don't fully understand, like, you know, what we're all about, and they kind of shut it down without giving it a chance.
Absolutely. So tell me the goals that you got for Street Beef, short, long-term goals. What do you want to accomplish? What's the end goal?
You know what, I'm happy with the way things are going right now. However, I'm always planning ahead and looking at different things that I can do. Some of them are just in the stage right now that I can't talk about them just because, you know how people are. People,
Still it.
it's 100%. Yeah, people just want to take what you got and make it their own, take credit for it. But I sit around, I plan all this stuff out ahead of time, so I don't like to you know, risk that. But I do have plans. So that's a good reason for people to kind of watch us and pay attention to what we're doing. And if you go back and watch our older stuff, you can see what's changed kind of since the beginning, you know, and how much we've evolved just in general. And you can see that if you just keep looking at it, you'll see that we keep evolving, and it's just going to keep doing that. So good things to come. Just can't get into them. So
So give me the timeline for the rest of this year and the beginning of 2024. You know, if y'all out there as far as events, appearances, things like that you got going on.
all right. So we do fights every single month, and there was only one event where we didn't have a fight, and that was in December of 2020 because we broke our ring, and then we constructed the cage that you see in all our videos now, which is solid. So we haven't missed an event since then. Our next one is going to be August 26th, then September 23rd, and then October 21st, November 25th, December 23rd. So the trend, oh no, I'm wrong on this December one, December 16th. Because I never let my December one be too close to Christmas. But the trend is every month except for December, we have them the first Saturday after on or after the 20th.
Okay.
But appearances and stuff, like sometimes I'll go out to one of the other yards, make an appearance, bring some fighters. Sometimes I'll go to events and stuff like, Power Slap. And I do have my own podcast. It's called Kicking It with Chicken. I do that usually like once a week, but it's not 100%. And I do that to get information out to the fans. So I generally just write down a bunch of stuff, things I need to say, like, okay, guys, new rule. Okay, guys, we're not going to have this anymore. Okay, guys, these are some of the fights that I have lined up for the month. Okay, guys, this is a video I edited today. It's not coming out till tomorrow, but I'll premiere it for you guys on here. Sometimes I'll have, guests come on. I use StreamYard because that's a really good way to bring people's messages up, to premiere videos, to put stuff up on screen, to bring guests on. So StreamYard, yeah, it's a pretty solid one. And then yeah, so I do some lives every once in a while. I live stream the events when we do them on Fight Day, and that's on our YouTube channel. I did try live streaming it on TikTok and Instagram too last month, and I had like 8,000 people watching on TikTok at one point. So it ain't gonna happen now because my TikTok's gone. I did start a new one, but starting from scratch, it takes a while. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna ask, do you do the lives on Instagram, on the YouTube, when you guys are out there?
yeah, not as much on Instagram and stuff. However, I might use it. I don't know. I got to come up with a way that I can do it because I have my live feed going, which is one of my phones. I got my wife with my other phone. She's taking reels for me. And then I got camera number 2, camera number 1 in the cage. I got a new camera thing that I'm going to be doing also. We're going to see how that works at this event. But at least that'll give us some different footage, some footage you've never seen before.
Absolutely. So how do you want people to perceive Street Beefs?
I want us to be looked at as a community that is ultimately there to help people out, to bring people together, to help people through tough times. If they don't got people that they can really depend on, talk to, we're a community and you can talk to us. We want to be a place where people can feel accepted no matter what. And if people want to jump in the ring and have a fight, there's that too. So if they got a problem with another person, they can solve it out here. And yeah, and we're just looking to build up the fighters and get them exposure that they wouldn't get in amateur fighting or professional, because honestly, you don't get a whole lot of that when you're doing those fights. You just kind of get what they'll give you. They might not share nobody took any video, your amateur fights, you're out of luck. But here, you got a good video, you got multiple videos that you can show people and have for the rest of your life. You can, save it. And yep.
Absolutely. So since we talking about the fight game, man, give me your Mount Rushmore. Give me your top 5 fighters, man. They could be boxing, MMA, kickboxing, whatever. Give me your top 5. It could be all time, current, whatever.
Okay. I'll start with mixed martial arts. I can't put them all on the same wall, man. I really can't. They're 2 separate sports with too many people in them. I say 2 just because I primarily look at boxing and mixed martial arts.
Well, let's do 2 top 5s. Let's do boxing and MMA.
Okay, and I'm limited more on boxing. Like I did watch boxing growing up, and I do have some favorites, but I'm not as deep into that as MMA. But boxing, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, Tyson Fury,
Oh yeah.
and George Foreman.
Yeah.
Those are going to be, yeah.
All right. Mixed martial arts. This gonna be
Okay. This is in no order, by the way. You got GSP,
yeah, he's dope.
you got Anderson Silva,
Yeah.
you got Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, you got John Jones, and the fifth one's kind of tough for me. I could say Fedor because of his long record. However, he never fought in the UFC. So if the fifth one's a toss up between Fedor and Khabib, Khabib could have had more fights and kind of shown a little bit more. So that one's kind of tough for me, but I think I'd probably lean toward Fedor on that one.
Yeah. I was gonna see if you was gonna name Khabib, but not I like Khabib.
Yeah, he's great. I just wish he could have maybe gone a little bit longer and got a couple more fights in, and
Yeah. I
they
think he was just gonna run into a situation kind of similar to like a Floyd or something like that. Like you become so dominant that it's like you competing with yourself at that point, because you ain't really ran into nobody that really pushed you. And his dad passing away. I know. I looked at his interview, and he said he promised his dad that he won't fight again after that
Mhm.
burger fight. So he's a man of his word. So he got his own gym. I seen him on TV. He got his own gym where he trains people. And as I seen one of the dudes train this gym tried to try him, and he had put him on the ground and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that guy, yeah, man, he hasn't really ever been anybody like him in the UFC. Not that dominant wrestling like that. Not as much as even you had really good guys that were on the like BJJ guys and wrestlers, and they just couldn't beat him. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, um,
Yeah, absolutely, man. So closing remarks, anything else that you want to say to the people about Streetbeefs that I probably didn't cover, and let people know how to keep up with you on social media and things like that? It's a YouTube channel.
so I think we pretty much covered everything. You just got to look at it like these guys are all at different levels. They're all looking for something different. Some of them aren't necessarily fighters, but they might want to be. So you got to look at it like that. You got to look at it like we're trying to do something positive for the fighters, trying to give them what they need out of life, and trying to be there for each other. I mean, if you understand all that stuff, like join our Facebook group. That's where the fighters hang out. It's all a lot of, we're really strict on positivity in there. Like we don't want people getting put down for putting up sparring footage or bag footage, because we want people to encourage each other. Say, hey, I'll work with you a little bit if you're, since you live in the same town as me, we can get together. Hey, I run this gym. Come on out to my gym. I'll work with you a little bit. It's all about making connections and being there for each other. So that's ultimately what Street Beefs is solving beefs and being there for each other. You can follow us on Instagram, streetbeefs_scrapyard. Follow us on TikTok, streetbeefs_scrapyard. I just started that one. YouTube is Streetbeefs Scrapyard. And then our Facebook group, Streetbeefs Scrapyard. So yeah, you just pretty much type Streetbeefs Scrapyard in, you'll find us somewhere.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate you coming on the show. I think it's a real special thing that you, Scarface, and the other people that run leagues got going on. And I think it should be broadcast more often, because when we was kids, it was still killing going on when we was kids,
Mhm.
but that wasn't as bad as it was now. People still, you used to get to fighting and be friends with the dude, after you fight the dude, but now it's like if you fight somebody now, they go into a gun, after.
Right.
So
That's unfortunately happened with a couple people in Street Beefs. It was, on the streets, they tried to stop something, or they wanted to handle it that way, and fortunately they lost their lives. So But Street Beefs, I really believe has saved a lot more people. Yeah, it's saved a ton of people. So it is a good thing. But yeah, I mean, man, when I was growing up, same deal. You could just get in a fist fight and then you were friends after that. That's how it should be.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And anytime you want to come on the show, man, I do episodes all the time. I don't just do interviews. I talk about real stuff too. I'm a big component of mental health. So, I talk about
Same here.
relationships,
Yes.
a brief background about myself. I was in the military for 8 years. I got medically retired 3 years ago. Been to Afghanistan twice. I'm real big on the mental health thing and, talking about stuff that I know somebody gonna come across in their life. Like, one of my most popular episodes was should you kick your kid out at 18 years old? Child support, 50-50 in relationships, police brutality, any type of topic that some person might come across in their life.
Yeah. We have you would like our Street Beefs groups, but we also have a Street Beef support group. It's just called Street Beef Support. And it was formed recently with the passing of somebody that we lost due to um, mental health, kind of deal. And we're all grieving over that still. But we put together this Street Beef Support group, and it's just a place where you can go in and be like, hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Oh man, I'm kind of feeling a little down. Whatever you want to talk about, you can even post anonymously. But I mean, you could go in there and you could probably say like, hey guys, I run this podcast. We talk about that kind of stuff sometimes too. Need somebody to talk to, that kind of stuff. So yeah, check that out. But that's
Absolutely.
awesome that you do that stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And anytime you want to come on, man, a lot of people reach out to me on my Instagram, and then I got my number on my Instagram too. So, and I interview a lot of celebrities too. I just had Trap Beckham on a podcast yesterday. I just interviewed the real Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross. I had Flip, the Reds to Shine, a couple other platinum selling artists on here too. So
Okay. Yeah. Um, I would like to do that too. I mean, like have people on Kicking It with Chicken, but like I just got to get my stuff a little bit better together. Like sometimes I just go on there and it's like things kind of fall apart and I don't stick to topic. But that Instagram, like I was saying, it's a really good networking system, and a lot of these people I can get a hold of, and they might be willing to jump on shows. But sometimes it's hard to figure out like how to ask them or what am I going to ask them, and because the fight stuff is kind of my that's what I do, but the podcasting stuff I'm not great at.
and another thing too with the artists, man, you can start doing little halftime shows. You reach out to an artist and they see you got a big platform with the thing, and they can come out there. And then, if they post it on their Instagram and they bring more awareness to what you got going on, because they're gonna post whatever they're performing or doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean you're hitting that one right, and I've thought about some of that before, but the way that you said it got me thinking about. I thought more along the lines of having them like maybe write content for us and collaborating, but having them actually perform and then linking kind of us together with them. They don't necessarily have to write something for us, but they could still share it on their feed and everything. Um, that's a really good idea because there's a lot of talent out here in Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Let me write that down. There was a artist that wanted to come out a couple of years ago or about a year ago. He never ended up making it out, but he's a guy that would perform with Macklemore, and Macklemore actually found this guy, and he's been in a few of his songs and stuff. But yeah, yeah, I'm down for that. That's any way I can bring a couple different communities together that would benefit both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, I need everybody to follow Streetbeefs Scrapyards on every platform, Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know, I'm a big fight fan. I love watching fights. You know, I get fights at the crib all the time and throw fight parties, and you know, we eat good and watch pay-per-view fights. So yeah, like I had the first time I looked at the Instagram, I was on your page for probably about 40 minutes just watching different.
Really?
Like I had got addicted. I was like, oh, this dude got knocked out. Let me look at another one, you know.
So that's really good because it's firsthand feedback, right? I just post the stuff and it's like, because I do it all on my phone, have all these things on my phone, and I just like, oh, there's one, there's one, there's one. And like I said, I have my wife film at the events now with my phone, and it's a nice newer phone, so it gets good video. But I mean, I could rip those directly off there and throw them on Instagram. I mean, there might be like a lot of clips, and so I just have pretty much unlimited content of stuff to throw on there. And I'm hoping that it's also bringing people over to YouTube, but you know, you never know. Like, I don't know if people quite realize that that's where all the full length fights are. And I do all the editing on the fights on the YouTube stuff too.
You know, you could do I don't know if you utilize YouTube shorts, but you can use the same content that you're using for the reels and do it as shorts, because you can monetize off the shorts too.
For sure, man. What I do is I make a short and then I'll post it on Facebook, or I post on Instagram, which posts it on Facebook, and then I'll post on TikTok, and then I'll post it on YouTube. YouTube actually allows you to do remixes of your own content too and make shorts out of them. So you can actually pump out shorts a lot faster on YouTube than you can on TikTok or anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, another thing on Instagram that I do too, because I know I'll be busy sometimes. And you know, I don't know if you know, on Instagram you can schedule posts.
Yeah. It really only takes me like a short amount of time to make a reel, so I don't typically have to schedule those. I do that on YouTube all the time because I'll have 5 videos done and I'm like, I can't release these all at once. So they'll sit in there and they'll be private, and then I just release them, or I release them to my members first.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
And I think this is a lot of people gonna like this, because I'm gonna insert a couple of the fight clips at the beginning of the end.
Nice.
And so people can see before the interview and at the end of the interview, you know, people can get it on in that ring. You know, the good thing about your ring too is, like, you know, it ain't the same size as a boxing ring where people can run. Like, yeah, it's just the right size of, like, hey, you ain't no running. You're going to have to step forward, you know?
Yep. Yep. All right.
You ready? Fighter, you ready? This is Scrapyard. Let's scrap.
Go, Ronnie.
Door.
Door.
Okay.
Okay. That's that front leg. Stay calm. Stay calm. Down. Yeah. Keep your hand up, though. There you go. There you go. Hands up while you kick. Hands up. There it is. Leg kick. He's leaning heavy on that front leg. Hey, that's what's up. You're good. You're good. You like those? Hands up. Hands up. I get those, Ronnie. That leg off. He wants to put it up there for it. Take it. It's free kick.
Let's work, gentlemen. Let's work. Let's work.
There you go. I like that one. That hurt. I like that one. That hurt. You don't like that? Set it up. Set it up. Set it up. Set it up. He don't like those. Hey. High 10. Stop that time. Smoke is running. You're good. That leg off. Hands up. There it is. There it is. 1, 2, after the kick. Keep your hands up. Keep them up. 3 seconds. Head moving. You want a box? Keep your head moving. You want a box? Put him away. Relax.
This head got to come back up. Just let it come up.
Come on, gentlemen, let's work.
Hey, leg kick 1, 2. Throw the hands after the kick.
See some work, gentlemen.
Hands
Come on,
up.
Come up, come up, come up. Go to neutral corner.
Casey, you're doing good.
1, 4, 3. There it is. 1. Let's go to wrestle.
Hey, ready for that.
He don't want to strike. He's gonna try to wrestle with you now. Now we catching him. Check hooks, uppercuts, and chop his leg off. He don't like those.
I'm good.
Body, you ready? Body, you ready? Let's get it.
Hands up. Already. There you go.
Good thing.
Hands with the kicks. Hands with the kicks.
Get ready, careful.
You need to take this water back right after you give it to me.
Him tied, Ronan. Him tied.
Come on.
Body. Right there.
On the left with it.
Body. Go. Check.
Come on. Dawson's home.
Come on now. Stay focused. There you go. There you go. You can't wrestle. You slap him.
Come on. Use your skills, baby.
Look, you in his head. Hey, focus, Ronan. You in his head. You ain't ready to stay focused.
You have to try to push you back.
Leg kick.
Yeah.
And do 1, 2. 1, 2.
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
Leg hurts.
There. Don't reach.
You all right?
Don't reach.
Breathe, baby. Breathe.
Hey, that belly's a punching bag, gang. Hands up, Ronnie. Body belly.
Let's work, gentlemen.
Body belly.
Let's work.
There you go.
Higher up.
To the body. Check it now. To your body. There you go. Don't give me Come on. He's tired. He's tired. He's tired. Push. Come on.